Ho ho hello, thank you for stopping by. My name is Becky and this is BecxReadz, and welcome back to yet another day of Bookmas. Today I am starting off my Fave 5 series, so the next several videos you will see will be me just sharing my Fave 5 of different genres or tropes or whatnot. This year I am going to do something a little bit different. In the past I would include my best books of the year in my Fave 5 series. This year, though, I'm going to try and not to include them in my Fave 5 because I have read over 220 books this year alone. So this year, to highlight more books that I've enjoyed, I'm going to try and not to include books that I know are going to be in my best books of the year list in my Fave 5 list. Now, there might be some slipped in there occasionally. Maybe you could guess which ones they're going to be. That'd be fun. But for the most part, I'm trying my best not to do that. And today I am going to start off by sharing my Fave 5 audiobooks. Now, I don't know how many audiobooks I've listened to this year. I will put up a guesstimation number right here because on Scribd, sometimes the audiobook isn't a format of choice, so it's always a guesstimation. So my Fave 5, let's start with 5 and work our way up to the number 1. At number 5, I am going to say In the Lives of Puppets by T.J. Klune. This is narrated by Daniel Henning. This is T.J. Klune's cozy sci-fi. It is about a young man who is living with some robots, and he assumes that he is the only human left. His father, who is an inventor, rescued him and is sort of keeping him separated because this government, they don't want humans around, I guess. That's what I can remember of it. Now, to be honest, this wasn't my favorite T.J. Klune book. I only gave it 3 stars because it wasn't as emotionally impactful to me as some of his other books, but I did love the audio narration of this book. The narrator did a great job of inflicting his voice for the different characters. One of my favorite characters was the little Roomba. He was adorable, he had anxiety, and I loved him. So if you love T.J. Klune's books and you are looking for a cozy sci-fi, I definitely think you should give this one a shot on audio because it was really well done. My 4th favorite audiobook of the year was actually a series of books. I listened to the first 3 books of the Dragonkin series by G.A. Aiken. This is narrated by Holly Jackson. I do own these books physically, but when I saw that they were available on Everand, I decided to listen to them, and I'm glad I did because these were such fun audiobooks to listen to. The narrator, again, she does a great job of inflicting her voice for different characters, and even though I do believe she is the same narrator for the first 3 books that I've read, I feel like because I listened to them far enough apart that they sounded like different characters to me. It didn't sound like the characters from book 2 sounded exactly like the characters from book 1. Maybe if I had listened to them all in one go, it would have, but I don't know. I've really been enjoying this series. It is an adult fantasy romance series that follows a group of dragon shifter siblings as they find their mates, and then there is a whole overarching plot throughout the series that connects them. Such a great series. It is a backlist series, but I feel like it has stood up and it blends really well in with the fantasy romance of today. And they are just so fun because the characters are so snarky. They have great banter. They have great chemistry. There's great steam in these books as well. The female main characters are all feisty and kick ass, and the male main characters are also protective and possessive. And I love them. So if you are looking for a fantasy romance series to start on audio, I would definitely suggest checking out the Dragonkin series. My 3rd favorite audiobooks of the year are Wild Scottish Night and Wild Scottish Love by Tricia O'Malley. This is dual cast narrated by Amy Landon and Will Watt, and I loved their narration. He has a great Scottish accent, which I had to slow down to 1.5 times speed so that I could take it all in and really understand it because it is a thick Scottish accent, but oh my gosh, it was great. I loved it. She does a great job of inflicting her voice for different characters and to emote different emotions, which I really enjoyed. These are very low steam, so there is maybe a couple smut scenes in them, but nothing too overly graphic. For the most part, they're pretty sweet romances. But these are about women who find themselves for different reasons in Scotland, working at this very mysterious castle. It has that slight speculative fiction paranormal elements that just added the touch of whimsy that I absolutely loved for this series. You have things like kelpies and unicorns and a ghost cow and a brownie, and it was just so freaking adorable, and I loved the way it was narrated. So if you are looking for a sweet contemporary romance set in Scotland with a little bit of magic involved, I definitely recommend checking this series out on audio. My second favorite audiobook of the year was Butcher and Blackbird by Brynne Weaver. This is another audiobook which is dual cast narrated by Lucy Rivers and Joe Arden. And again, the way that they bounce off one another and the way that they inflict their voices for different emotions and different characters was so good. The snark and the banter between the narrators is amazing. This is a humorous contemporary serial killer romance in which we are following these two serial killers who are sort of having fun with it in a friendly competition to see who can take out other serial killers first, and they develop a romance. This gets super steamy about 60% into this book. I gotta say, even though I liked what the characters were doing, the narration of it got a bit cringy for me at times just because it was so much all the time. The smut just got a little too frequent, and the words used to describe what they were doing, it was in every smut scene. So it got a little bit cringy for me. But that being said, excellent audiobook, let me tell you. If you are looking for an audiobook that will just suck you in and keep your attention, this one will do it. My favorite audiobook of the year is actually an entire freaking series. I listened for the first time to the graphic audios of the ACOTAR series this year. It took me a while. I started in January, I think, and I just finished listening to A Court of Silver Flames in November. So I spaced them out quite a bit. I was waiting for like library holds and things like that. I found most of them available on Everand, which was really nice, but a couple of them they didn't have. So I loved these audiobooks. Full cast with sound effects and everything. I really love the way graphic audio does audiobooks. It's literally like their tagline says, a movie in your mind. It just brought the story to life. It allowed me to connect with the characters on a deeper level than I have before. It gave different voices to a lot of the characters. Some I didn't like. The way they sounded in my head are not the way the narrator sounded, let me tell you. Rhysand's voice was not as deep and as sexy as it was in my brain. I actually found myself liking Tamlin's narrator better than Rhysand's narrator. Two of my favorite narrators were Lucian and Cassian, though. Every single character has a different narrator, and I forgot to write down who they were. It brought out emotions in me that I hadn't experienced through just physically reading the story. Like, listening to ACOTAR, this time around, it got 5 stars for me. ACOTAR has never gotten 5 stars for me. It's always been my least favorite book in the series. It's never gotten above like a 4-star for me. And this time around, I cried. I don't know that I could go back to reading it physically after listening to these audios because the audios were so freaking amazing. If you've been curious about these books, I definitely think you should try the graphic audio if you are somebody who is able to listen to audiobooks, because it just brings it so to life. And I know that's probably a bummer to some people, being like, oh God, one of your favorite books was ACOTAR. It's like, I can't help it, okay? I listen to a lot of audiobooks, and those just happen to be the best audiobooks that I reread this year. And I have no shame in saying that. Let me know down in the comments what has been your favorite audiobook of the year. But if you don't want to comment that and want to let me know that you've made it this far, could you leave me some either headphones or music emojis, something to do with audio? Thank you so much for watching, and with that, you will see me tomorrow for another Fave 5 Bookmas video. Bye!